I heard a crash. What happened?
Ow.
We bought some magical cards, and we're seeing what would happen.
Ow.
You found a deck of wheel and party wipe? Why would you play with those things? What happened?
Rodney pulled, rocks fall, people die.
Ow. Does anyone have a potion of spine injury repair?
Well, it didn't kill him. That's good.
You didn't see where the other rocks fell. I pulled DM favoritism. Get one wish. Do you want to pull one?
No way. I knew a guy from the tavern who pulled one and got something like get a GF.
Did they get a bad girlfriend?
You could say that. They were followed by a flaming doom train that they couldn't control. Seriously, you could look out the window and see this evil train lurking around in the alley, belching smoke and looking shady. It was terrible. I'm not touching it.
Ow. Give it to me. Maybe I'll pull something like friends who don't suck.
What does it say?
Advance the plot. Get a castle. Lucky me.
Oh, I know that place. It's in that weird country with the strange customs.
Huh?
Some philosophy that only deals with ethics but not morality. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that stuff in Bard class. Basically, if you follow the rules, you're okay. If you don't, you're a bad person. Only it's to the extremes.
So, how do they know who's okay and who's evil?
You're both pretty evil to me right now.
Shut up. You're the one who just dropped a bunch of random boulders on a populated area. So, when do we leave?
When my spinal injury heals, you jerks.
Hi, I'm Thomas Camp, and let's talk nerd. When I first suggested this module, I did it from a place of love. It's the first module I ever owned, and I love it. It's everything I enjoy about a fantasy role-playing game. It's a fun little adventure that takes the players on a romp through a cursed castle. It's part Disney, part Conan, chock full of stupidity with a nice little tied with a bow ending. Little did I realize the curious history of this piece. A little background. In 1977, the publishing gaming company TSR, in an effort to appeal to a wider audience, published D&D Basic, a stripped-down and simplified version of their signature game that even a child could, and from personal experience, did run. And it was simplistic. Everything was basic in this game. Yet it held all the necessary ground rules so new players could expand into the more complicated, expert, and advanced rules. It helped introduce young players to storytelling, or dungeon mastering as is the parlance. TSR also designed modules made specifically for the basic system, the B modules. So when it was time to introduce a new module to the B series, the editors called up Gene Wells, a first-time designer, to write it. The Palace of the Silver Princess was published early in 1981 and 40,000 copies printed. But just as it was about to be shipped out, all of the copies were suddenly recalled and the Palace of the Silver Princess rewritten by editor Tom Mulvey. The cover was changed from orange to green, and the green copies shipped out instead, with all of the orange copies relegated to a Wisconsin landfill. Gene Wells received a writing credit on the new module and fired. Thus it became part of TSR lore, the Lost Orange module. The official story is that it was recalled because of questionable content, a picture of a woman hanging from a beam being menaced by hairy men. There is also rumor of interoffice politics because of another picture parodying the TSR staff's heads on the bodies of weird monsters. Whatever the reason, Gene Wells' module was lost to the dustbin of history until the onset of the internet. With all of that out of the way, let's look at the two modules and see what all the fuss was about. This is B3, Palace of the Silver Princess, Orange Edition. It all starts with the players hearing rumors of a haunted castle in a desolate valley and legends of a kidnapped princess, an evil dragon rider, and of the beautiful ruby called My Lady's Heart that still hides somewhere in the ruins of that castle. Very few of those who venture into these ruins return to tell the tale. Local legends whisper that the red dragon that destroyed the valley still flies over the castle, a bridle wrapped around its neck. The surrounding area is ruled by a duchess who has placed a law that all adult men must be accompanied by a woman. Kind of a twist on the traditional gender tyranny. The module introduces a tinker and his daughter with a detailed description of their wagon and of their lives. I assume this is to give the player someone from the area to interact with and a woman to help deal with the law. Then the players are at the front gate. Wow, that was fast. 1 second we were dealing with avoiding the locals and hanging with a traveling handyman. The next we're freezing our butts off out in front of the haunted palace. And this isn't much of a palace. The first level is an underground complex, complete with caves filled with stalactites and stalagmites and underground pools. The second level is the actual palace. So is this just a one-level complex with an extensive basement? And why do you have to enter through the basement? I'm starting to wonder if these people had ever seen a castle before. Can you climb up to the upper levels and just climb through a window? How do guests move around in this place? The best I can guess, a visitor is escorted through the front gates, led 300 feet to a hidden door, up some stairs to a waiting room, then escorted another 100 feet or so to the throne room. Gods help you if you need to go to the ballroom, which is hidden behind 2 gates and a secret door. Don't ask where the toilet is. Rooms are just cobbled together, creating a confusing mess. It's one thing to be eclectic. This is a paranoid meth head's crash pad. False doors without purpose, secret shortcuts, lethal pits in the middle of empty rooms. This place is an illogical death trap. And things live here. How? I don't know. I guess they have some sort of weird truce in place. They might be 3-headed, 3-legged, 3-armed mutants, but they keep to themselves and their children are so well behaved. The evil cleric and his werebear minion are a nice couple, and the 2 dwarves make this delicious carrot cake that is to die for. We don't talk about the nut job in the basement, but he does have these 2 student renters who are the sweetest girls. It's such a quirky little neighborhood we have here. The only downside is all the bears. And the ghosts. How long do you think it's been doing that for?
I don't know. A few hundred years?
You think it's even alive?
I don't know. Seems to be some sort of magical cat.
Look, if you 2 aren't going to do anything about it, I'm going to take it as a magical familiar. Here, kitty kitty.
Out of all the things I thought it could be, I was not expecting a magical panther. Good job, Rodney. Let's talk a bit about the humans who are in this place. There's a wacko named Travis who lives in the lower levels, and he's the one killing all the adventurers who wander in, trying to protect his treasure. I don't know who DB is, but Travis really likes their wedding ring. There are 2 female adventurers named Candela and Duchess. Duchess. You're a 20-year-old hottie named Duchess. I'm surprised she doesn't have a small dog named Pixie or Princess. They're trying to loot the place and are now in way over their heads. I'm pretty sure these 2 are based on the writer's cats. Then there's Catharandamus, a manipulative cleric, and his 3 henchpeople, the dwarves Boron and Chozome, at least I think that's how it's pronounced, who starts their name with an XYZ, and Aaliyah, the lycanthrope who wields a magical sword made of rubies. This woman can turn into a bear and has a sword made of rubies. Why isn't she fronting a glam metal band? I call shenanigans. Anyways, Catharandamus is in this place to do something, and he'll try and manipulate the players into helping him do it. What's he up to? No clue. Maybe he's looking for something. Cheap rent, a nice view. Who knows? He's probably the toughest encounter written, so he can do whatever he wants, I guess. There's a couple of monsters here that deserve special mention. One is the tribe of weird mutants who are just chilling out. It's their picture that offended the staff and contributed to Miss Will's downfall. So much so that they've disappeared from the D&D bestiary entirely. I mean, it's strange because they're pretty inoffensive. Must have struck a nerve because I've not seen them in anything TSR has written since. The next thing is the Decapus and its picture, The Illusion of the Decapus. The Decapus is a hairy ball of tentacles that create an illusion of 9 men threatening a helpless, beautiful woman. The BS&M theme of this is what got up their collective butts. For a company that has no shame in objectifying women, this got their panties in a bunch? Sure, it's tasteless to put this in a game directed towards young adults, but seriously? This is what got the landfill? I can't even tell what's going on in this. Are they trying to saw her in half? Hit her like she's a piñata? Trying to untie her? I don't know. Good to know the company that pioneered the cleavage-revealing chainmail bikini has some lines it won't cross. And this place is haunted by the princess and the dragon knight. It looks like that part of the legend was false because this place is full of clues that suggest the kingdom knew and liked the dragon and the knight. Artwork of them with the princess, notes talking about the upcoming wedding, and of course, their ghosts who are hanging out by the gem, my lady's heart. This part, like the rest of this adventure, leaves a huge hole for the DM to fill in. What actually happened to the 2 of them, and why is the dragon so pissed? Here is the difference between the old-style TSR module versus the modern module. Older modules force the DM to rewrite the adventure to make sense. That's the whole point of the module, to help train new DMs into making their own adventures. It's just a rough outline, allowing each DM to create something new and original while using the module as a base. It's even left areas deliberately open and empty with spaces in the text for notes. New modules fill in the blanks and try to create a quick and self-contained story. Also, to a printer, leaving empty spaces is just a waste of money. So, now let's look at the rewrite. The internet tells me that nothing of Miss Wells' content survived the new work. So let's see what this is all about. This is B3, Palace of the Silver Princess, Green Edition.
Are they following us? Did we lose them?
I think so. I think they can't leave the castle.
What was that? Why did everything in there attack us on sight?
I don't know. Hey, where are the girls? Did we lose them?
No, they can't leave the castle.
What? Why? What did you do?
Nothing. They're ghosts. Everything we met in there was undead. Even the people who didn't look like it. They're all dead.
Everyone? But they all looked alive and acted alive. Are you sure?
The mutants were alive. Maybe the bears. Everything else was gone. Some ghosts can look alive. It's just something they can do.
How do you know?
Oh, do you remember that room that only I could enter?
The one you set on fire?
Hey, all I was doing was absorbing all of its powers. Anyways, the creatures in there told me all about it.
And you didn't feel it was necessary to tell us?
Not with those two women haunting us. I didn't know what would happen. Besides, I thought I might be able to do them.
But what about the princess? She seemed so nice and sweet. What happened to make her so mad?
I don't know. After I absorbed their powers, the creatures stopped talking.
It's so sad. All she wanted was to be happy. I feel awful for her.
Feel awful for us. We just about got ripped apart by a horde of undead.
We can't give up now. We've almost cleaned out my castle, and we still have that dragon horde to find.
The dragon.
Yeah, I've always wanted to kill a dragon. Maybe I'll mount its head in my new love palace.
No, the dragon. It's flying this way. Wait, that's not a normal dragon. That's a dragon lich. What kind of idiots are these locals? Can't tell the difference between a living dragon and a dead one?
I'm impressed. Even without facial muscles, it still looks angry. It'll look awesome over my throne.
I wish we could make the princess happy.
What happened?
I made a wish.
This adventure starts with the players being called upon from a dream. A benevolent princess's kingdom is under siege by monsters after her royal ball explodes and the castle is trapped by an evil red barrier. No one knows what's going on, but the answers are all inside, so it's up to the group to get this solved. The story the party gets is that a mysterious stranger on a white dragon showed up after the princess received a beautiful gift, a huge ruby named My Lady's Heart. Wait. A handsome stranger on dragonback and a beautiful, mysterious ruby. That's part of the plot of the first module. Yes, this module has a lot of similarities to the original. Here's the new plot. A huge ruby is found by the local miners who, as a sign of affection for the princess, give it to her as a gift. She plans a huge party to show off the gem and announce her upcoming nuptials to the dragon rider, whose dragon has been changed from red to white but is otherwise just a bland, handsome dude. But the gem is an artifact from an evil imprisoned demigod who's trying to escape and uses the gem to drive a bunch of folks nuts. This causes a pack of problems, including triggering a magical accident that blows half the castle away. The gem then turns everyone left in the castle to stone, imprisons the princess and the dragon rider inside itself, and traps the dragon in 3 silver statues that are hidden across the castle. Finally, the gem erects a mystical red barrier that kills everything that crosses it, except evil creatures. Now, with evil henchmen inside performing the ritual that will break the demigod out of his prison, the adventure is on to stop all this crap. The creatures who called up the party via their dreams can open a small path through the red barrier, and the party now has a way to get inside and rock this joint. Okay, here's what I found out. We've been transported 500 years into the past. The princess's castle is all screwy and no one knows what's going on. There's a barrier blocking the way in, but if we can get past it, we'll have a chance to fix whatever's happening.
We have a problem. Rodney was figuring out the time traveling part and was playing with the cards again.
To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering.
Wonderful. So?
You don't understand. He snuck a card while we were asleep. He got one that said plot device, absorb the powers of your enemies. You can only take 3 cards from the deck.
Hope, in reality, is the worst of all evils because it prolongs the torments of man.
Okay, that seems OP and something he would do. And that would explain why he kept grabbing everything and rubbing it over his chest. So, why is he spouting gibberish?
That's the problem. He thought because we'd gone back in time, he could continue to draw cards. Turns out he was wrong. Every card you pull after the third is cursed.
So he thought he could draw 3 and took 6? So what did he get? Shout like an idiot 3 times?
The best weapon against an enemy is another enemy.
Genocidal maniac, power-crazed megalomaniac, and constantly spouting Nietzsche.
Is man one of God's blunders, or is God one of man's blunders?
So the only real change is he's no longer spouting Ayn Rand anymore. The layout of the castle is the same, the map almost identical, save for a few minor changes. It's still filled with pointless traps and rooms that make no sense, though. To illustrate how everything is the same but slightly different, I'll give an example. Both books have a laboratory with an animated statue of a warrior in it. In orange, it's in one corner. Green, the opposite corner. But they both have it described as having a cloth hanging over its shield. This module is just filled with this sort of things. Monsters with identical stats are now in different rooms and have slightly different treasure. Rooms have moved and are described differently, but are fundamentally the same, including the same traps. Even then, those traps are slightly different. The NPCs from Orange are here as well. Travis the Wacko Hermit is now a murderous corporal, but still has a magical throwing knife and a stolen wedding ring with the initial DB. Candela and Duchess are 2 thieves who got trapped inside. Their gear is identical, but now they're more mercenary. Although the dwarves are gone, Catharandamus and the lycanthrope, whose name has now been changed from Aaliyah to Allah, and isn't a werebear but now a werewolf, are here. Now they are servants of the evil demigod, and they are the ones performing the ritual to release the jerk. Even the ruby sword is here, although now it's the focus of the ritual and can't be wielded by anybody. The Decapus remains, although it no longer has illusionary powers. The enchanted cat that turns into a panther is here as the magician's familiar. The tribe of 3-headed mutants are gone, and are replaced, sadly, by standard monsters from the book. But they're still blood-sucking plants. It's also familiar, but not. Even the artwork remains, but has been slightly changed, all except for the picture of the staff and the illusion of the Decapus, which has been removed. The victory condition of this module is the destruction of the gem. This can be accomplished in any of 3 ways. 1. Gather all the statues of the dragon and get close to the gem. This releases the dragons, whose breath weapon shatters the gem and saves the day. 2. Play the proper tune on a magical harp that's found in the castle. As long as that's done near the gem, that does the trick. Finally, hitting the gem with the ruby sword from the ritual. I find this the funniest because the sword is too heavy to wield, so the group is just hopping this thing up the stairs and dropping it unceremoniously on the gem.
And... Ooh, watch out, you don't want to get a sliver of evil. Hey, does anyone have the shop vac of goodness around?
Once this is done, the princess and the dragon rider are released and everyone who got turned to stone is freed and the world is right once more. As long as the players weren't jerks and looted the hell out of this place, they got a hero's feast, a big gold medal, and an invitation to the wedding. A happy ending, unlike the depressing weirdness of the original module. So, what did I think? Can't lie, I hate what happened to Miss Wells, but I like this module. It is exactly what the original wanted. A creative adventure that used the module as the floor plan. Mr. Mulvey stayed true to her vision while making some of his own touches. I don't see the green as some cynical attempt at plagiarism, but as an honest attempt to keep the story as written, but make enough changes to satisfy both readers and editors. But I still hate what happened to Miss Wells. I look at both books trying to find the one thing I can point to and say, that's what caused all the problems. And I think I found it. Personal opinion, I think the Orange had some underlying sexual content that may have been uncomfortable, but wasn't as bad as it could have been. No, what I think is at fault here is the point of history itself. 1981 was an election year, with a popular Republican candidate. Religious groups were out in force, boycotting TSR and openly encouraging parents to burn the books, calling them satanic. Mazes and Monsters was just being filmed, and the anti-D&D propaganda was getting to a fever pitch. The last thing the editors wanted was someone to point to part of their young adult books and scream, kinky satanic sex freaks. Nor did any of the staff want their pictures plastered on bodies of monsters, giving these whack jobs more fuel to rage with. I've read both Orange and Green, and I see one character that encompasses all of this. The manipulative Catharandamus, or as I like to call him, Random Catholic, as he uses Aaliyah, or Allah, or the name of God, to do his dirty work. I guess some people look at D&D and think how terrible it is that people are hiding behind a screen, making arbitrary rulings based on a book that is set in an ancient magical fantasy world, and is full of rules that are close to reality, but are not actually real. Or maybe they just don't like people taking their shtick. At any rate, this had further ramifications than one woman being treated unfairly. It would be years before another woman would be allowed to design a module, that being to the best of my research, Laura Hickman, and even then she had to co-write with her husband. And even today, role-playing games are still referred to as satanic by a portion of the world. It's all kind of depressing. Let's lift our spirits a little and look into the far-flung future while looking back at the past. Next up, Paizo's Adventure Path, Iron Gods, Book 1, Fires of Creation. Until then. Well, this is a thing. Do you have anything left?
Nope. I used up the last of my spells to slow down Rodney. You?
Still have that potion of spinal injury repair.
You told us you lost it. You mean we didn't have to drag Rodney through town like that?
I forgot I had it.
Yeah. Forgot.
Do you think if I had given it to him, he wouldn't be hunting us through this palace?
No. I think he truly snapped after he killed the princess, the knight, and the dragon. When he turned into a genocidal maniac, I sure wasn't expecting him to hate dragons so much that he'd kill anyone for just being friends with one.
Ha! I doubt it. He wanted to take the palace for his love pad. Their support of the dragon was just a convenient excuse. Remember, power-mad megalomaniac.
We did all of this to save them, and all we did was get them killed. Worst day ever. Now what do? Even fully healed, we can't stop Rodney.
You still have that deck? We can play some gin rummy while we wait for him to kill us.
Yes. But you never pulled from the deck. You might get something useful.
You still have 2 pulls yourself. Why don't you pull? Well, what does it say?
You thought that was hard. All creatures killed by your party now rise as undead. Oh.
Bad guy power up. The most powerful creature your party has defeated now triples in power. That explains that then. Why was the palace haunted and all the undead trying to kill us?
Because of us.
Your turn.
I can't. I've done too much to the princess. I can't stand the thought of making this worse. What does it say?
Mulligan. Avoid any one decision you have made. I heard a crash. What happened?
We bought some magical cards and we're seeing what would happen.
You found a deck of wheel and party wipe? Why would you play with those things? What happened?
Rodney pulled. Rocks fall. People die.
Does anyone have a potion of spine injury repair?
Well, it didn't kill him. That's good.
You didn't see where the other rocks fell. I pulled a DM favoritism. Get one wish. Do you want to pull one?
Sure. Huh. It's blank.
So's this one. I guess the deck only had 2 cards that were useful. What a bummer.
Oh, so much for my chance of getting better friends.
Hold on. I think I have a potion of spinal injury repair in my pack. Let me get it for you.
Are you feeling okay? I've never known you to willingly part with anything before.
I'm feeling generous. I'll be right back.
That's weird.
You're telling me. I wish I knew what that was about. Son of a bitch!
Technical error. There. Alright, we're ready. You set? I'm set. Thomas, you set? I'm set. Rodney, you set?
I think so.